Everybody's excited about our next guest on Video Chat. Steve Dangle joins us this morning. Maple Leafs YouTube star. There he is. Good morning, Steve, or good afternoon where you are. Where are you joining us from today?
Oshawa, Ontario. I just got back from a public skate because I'm working on my skating because I suck and I'm learning.
That is hardcore hockey country there. How many people were out on the ice this morning at the the public skate?
Oh my God, it was mobbed. I thought it would be because I'm just learning how to go backwards. So I thought it would be nice and empty, but I think there was a summer camp thing going on or something. It was mobbed. Was
there a Mitch Marner sighting there?
Well, everyone was under 4 feet tall, so he could have been.
Okay. By the way, our producer Clark might very well be your biggest fan. He did give me a bio to read to our viewers this morning. Best-selling author Steve Dangle Glynn of This Team Is Ruining My Life, But I Love Them. Maple Leafs YouTuber since 2007. He got 108,000 subscribers, going on 13 seasons of Leafs fan reactions, video reactions to every Leafs game. Host of Hat Picks and Dang It's on Sportsnet. Amanda Ruler here is a social media sensation as well. She's got some questions for you. But how is the summer going in Leafville, given the way it ended last year, Steve, and prognostications for this upcoming season?
It's interesting because I feel like the season ended so traumatically with another first round exit, Game 7 to the Boston Bruins. It's Groundhog Day, and just the way it ended with the coach and the uncertainty, I feel like the fan base was having a lot of trust issues. And would anything actually change? And the scarring from the William Nylander saga last year, and we're just seeing it carry over to Mitch Marner. So it was a bit of an apprehensive beginning to the summer, but. I hated to see Nazem Kadri go, but that's a genuinely great trade. Alex Kerfoot's a good player, and Tyson Barrie is the best right-handed defenseman the Leafs have had in at least a decade, maybe a couple, maybe ever. And that's not saying that Tyson Barrie's a Norris candidate. It's more of an indictment on the Leafs. But I'm gaining optimism, and I think the fan base is gaining optimism. As the summer goes on.
Steve, I am subbed to your YouTube channel. I'm very excited. I've been watching your videos. You've been doing them for 9 years, so I'm kind of interested to know, 9 years ago, why did you pick YouTube as your channel to voice what you have to say?
Yeah, it was 12. It was 2007. Yeah, maybe you've been subscribed for 9, and I get it. The first 3 years were really bad. I get it. Turned it on just for you. You know what? It was just sort of it's funny that YouTube is mainstream now. And my wife's a kindergarten teacher, and you talk to kindergarten students. They don't want to be movie stars or TV stars or anything. They want to be YouTube stars. And I sort of gravitated towards YouTube because it was where all the weirdos were. And it was where it was I was in school for radio and television arts, and I got onto YouTube in my second year, and there were all these kids, in my program with fancy equipment and stuff, and they were getting onto the campus TV station or radio station, and I was a commuter, so I didn't really have access to any of that stuff, and I didn't have any fancy equipment at home, so it was easy to just hop on my little Logitech webcam and scream to my heart's content about the hockey team that was driving me nuts. What I didn't expect was anyone to watch. The first way I advertised my YouTube channel, I didn't send out a tweet. I didn't post it on Instagram or anything like that. I posted about it. I posted the link to my channel in my MSN Messenger status.
Oh, wow. No.
Yeah. For
blast from the past.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so it was just this easily accessible place for weirdos to hang out. So that's what drew me to it in the first place. I didn't think I'd get a career out of it.
Toronto's a Leafs town. There's no questioning that. They are the heavy hitters there. But the Raptors did come in and suck some of the excitement and the oxygen out of the room. Is the excitement around the Leafs now coming back in Toronto as they get ready for the season, and now that the Raptors is done and Kawhi is gone, is it as fervorish as it ever is?
No, I think what the Raptors did was they showed that, Toronto's not this one-trick pony, and the Blue Jays sort of did that a couple of years ago too, with 2015 and 2016, and that was wild. That was wild. Like, I think the city just wants a winner, and if anything, the Raptors upped the game for the Leafs, and there was always sort of this thought. Even though fans were sad DeMar was gone, there was always this thought of, well, if Kawhi comes and if he's fully healthy and if he's good, they're a contender. And by mid-season, they looked like a contender. So this season, I think part of the anxiety with the Leafs is, having not won a playoff round since 2004. Well, how are we ever going to look at them as a contender, with Boston always in the way and everything? So I don't think it's that fans are uber excited for the Leafs. I think it's that the Raptors won a championship, and now the entire city and lots of chunks of the country are like, all right, now what do you got? Like, show me. The standard is now championship. We were the hungry city that finally got fed, and now we're critiquing the food. So come on and give us a winner.
From our Facebook feed, Reese Gelowitz is watching this morning, and he says, Steve, will the Leafs beat their regular season point total from last year?
My answer, Reese, is who cares? The regular season basically doesn't matter. And I think we saw that last year with, what happened to Tampa? What happened to Calgary? What happened to every team that won their division? It was all four of them lost. I've been saying this for a while now. The Leafs could have the same regular season record, if not a few points back of what they had this year. But if they just perform better, and if they're a more solid team and they're not having to win every game 7-6, I'll be happy. Like down the stretch there was that one game where the Leafs were in their St. Pat's jerseys. They were taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. James Van Riemsdyk got a hat trick in his return because, of course. The Leafs ended up winning that game in a comeback, which they almost then blew the comeback. And I remember at the end of it just being like emotionally spent and exhausted and like not even happy that they won, because at the end of the game, I'm like, okay, they beat the Flyers. There's no way they're going to take on anyone in the playoffs, take on the Bruins. Like, if they can just play a better game, keep the puck out of their net, reunite William Nylander with the guy he was signed to play with. If they can just do some of the little things that can help me believe that they'll make it through 2 months of playoff hockey, I'll be happy.
I'm astounded at the Leafs fans out here in Western Canada. It makes no sense to me, which we'll talk about when we're done with you, Steve. The questions are coming in, bing, 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 like a slot machine here from our viewers. Blake, what's it going to take to beat Boston? From Terry, does Austin Matthews ever smile? It goes on and on and on. You're probably not surprised because you follow the Leafs. You see that arenas are full everywhere they go, particularly Western Canada. But the last one I'll put to you before we talk about your book is Blake's question from Kindersley. What is it going to take to beat Boston?
Just not go to pieces in Game 7. I mean, I watched Game 1. Leafs dominated them. Watched them beat them in Game 3. Watched them beat them in Game 5. They were ahead in Game 6, for crying out loud. Maybe if you have a guy who has 5 goals in 7 games, play him more than 18, 19 minutes in the 7th game that you were losing the whole time. I think that's the most haunting part of this year's loss. The year before, the Leafs, came back from a 3-1 series deficit against Boston, but they weren't the better team. And even though they choked in the third period again, they weren't the better team. This year, it kind of looked like they were, for 6 games in or 5 games in a period in. So I would like to see more solid defensive play, and I would like to see, Freddie not go to pieces in Game 7 too. He's the Leafs MVP in a lot of ways. But I want to see Babcock, when all the chips are down, ride his ponies. you know what? Like, I understand saving your players and not wanting to burn them out. It's game 7. There's no tomorrow if you lose this game. Play Matthews and Tavares 25 minutes if you have to. Play them half an hour each. There's no tomorrow if you lose that game. So I would just like the Leafs to treat their superstars like superstars, and they just might act like superstars and surprise them.
Yeah, and a lot of coaches do, and have had success. Steve, you got a few things to mention, to plug here today. So what can we tell our viewers and listeners?
For sure. I got This Team is Ruining My Life, but I love them. How I Became a Professional Hockey Fan. It's my book. Have I mentioned that I wrote a book? It's available everywhere books are sold. And the audio, audible.ca, iTunes, Kobo, ecwpress.com. There's a bunch of others. Coming up very soon. Which way should I turn? There we go.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing in the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic, so please visit celebrityhockeyclassics.com. What we're going to be doing there is raising money for a charity called Easter Seals, Easter Seals Ontario specifically. It's a charity that raises money for kids with physical disabilities, and it's a cause that's near and dear to my heart because my family benefited from Easter Seals directly when I was a kid. My sister has cerebral palsy, and they, help provide access to equipment like a motorized wheelchair is something like $3,000. My sister's wheelchair that isn't motorized is, I think, $800 or something along those lines. Easter Seal Summer Camp is it's an opportunity for families of children with physical disabilities to get out of the house as a family and have fun in an accessible environment. So celebrityhockeyclassics.com, go to the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic and sponsor my team, Rachel's Raiders. If you feel like donating a few shekels, I would be very grateful. And just subscribe to my YouTube channel, man.
Steve Dangle, I'm a fan, man. I appreciate that and all you've done. And here's hoping the Leafs do something this year. Keep in touch.
Hope so. Yeah. Take care.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.